Hi, I'm Ms Coco and I teach Year 10 English. During the first term of this year, Year 10 studied Shakespeare's Macbeth, with each class studying a version of Macbeth and examining the big ideas surrounding the text as well as the main characters. The students analysed how the ideas are shown through the language of the text as well as how characterisation is explored throughout the text. The first assessment focused on a critical analysis of how Macbeth is transformed through his relationships with himself and other characters. The students were given opportunities to showcase their ideas through workshops in class, as well as submitting drafts for feedback from teachers to improve their essay writing. This assessment was submitted around the time that the COVID-19 remote learning started. The second assessment was a visual representation and reflection where students took their understanding of a key scene from the play and reimagined it in a completely different context. Students were given the opportunity to choose their own context in which to apply the key ideas of the scene, as well as the medium they presented the representation in. Further to the representation, students were asked to reflect on the process of deciding and creating it by responding to a series of questions. A lot of students excelled at this assessment, showing both their creative and analytical sides. This assessment was completed and submitted during the COVID-19 remote learning period, which did also mean that some students did not submit. In Term 2, Year 10 have been looking at various short stories, deconstructing how meaning is created through language and technique. Classes have studied 2 to 3 different texts chosen by their classroom teacher and completed a number of different activities surrounding how narrative is constructed, the characterisation within texts, before applying this understanding to their own creative writing. The first assessment is a creative writing task where students have been given an orientation or beginning of a story and have been asked to finish it. They were given time in class to start the work and were asked to submit a draft in order to get feedback from their teachers. After receiving feedback, students were then asked to take that and reflect on how they would utilise it in the final piece of work. As a class task, this creative assessment has been due over the past week or two, depending on the teacher's instructions. The second assessment will be an in-class assessment where students will be given extracts of different stories to read and answer a series of comprehension questions. One text has been mandated and the other text will be unseen. This is scheduled to be completed in class during week 7. Students should be borrowing books from school when they attend on site in order to engage in Ride Reading, which will develop their vocabulary and support their engagement with the Premier's reading challenges. With libraries also opening from June 1st, we strongly encourage that all students should have a local library membership and be borrowing regularly from there. 30 minutes of silent reading every night will help expand their vocabulary as well as their understanding of how language and sentences are constructed. Students should also be accessing their online learning if they have not completed work from the COVID-19 remote learning or if they are away from school. This can be done via their email, Google Classroom or via their Google Drive. If they have any questions or they're not sure of what they need to do, they do need to email their teachers.